I just woke up. Just woke up.
What in the F is this bull sugar?
I don't know. I just woke up. Maybe it's a desperate plea to get more streaming hours. Maybe I just wanted to hang out while I have to do stuff on the computer today. What's up, Dr. Butt Doctor? I'm going background noise mode. I was thinking of maybe watching like
I just hooked up my Roku.
Oh hell yeah. You know, Twitch chat is still like delayed on my end in OBS. It's really weird. Been coding, been procrastinating. Fair. I think I might watch this cathode ray dude video, cause I'm just roken up over here, and I could do with watching this dude talk about network attached storage. Our Lord and Savior, CRD. Yeah, no, basically. I've been showing the boyfriend some of his stuff. before he goes like, "Oh, I'm going to bed now," and I'm like, "Yeah." What is it? I need to make a little agenda. I see people with like little to-do lists on their streams. That looks good. One thing I want on the to-do list though, which I don't have it yet on my stream, is, which yes, I you know, I'm the type of computer user who is like, no, you don't even need to put the .text extension on the file. It's fine. Just use ASCII. Like it's whatever, UTF-8. Like, but you know, hang out in a coworker stream and actually kind of help. Yeah. I noticed like some of the really nice setups over there, and oh no, I got to thinking about it last night, and I kind of want to look for I don't know what you'd call it, like a frame, like for the Twitch stream, which I always thought it was a bit over the top. But as I want to add more and more elements to the side of the stream, it's mostly the streaming simulator game that really made me realize, like, oh wow, this can get really cluttered really fast. Of course, it's not necessary, but I don't know. It seems neat. And plus, I could just turn it on, turn it off whenever. Which I'll have to look into probably modifying an extant scene stream template thing. I just woke up. Okay, I woke up earlier, but then I went back to bed and I woke up again. So in lieu of there being a nice, pretty,
Just smoke up.
I just smoke up. Dude, Adam. You're right, Adam. I don't have to, like, drive today. Until later when I do. But that's not until later. So, yeah, Adam. How about we wake and bake a little bit? Just a little bit, though. But yeah, having a nice looking to-do list would look cool on the stream, I think. I'm trying to think of like a name of something that looks similar to that, but all I'm coming up with in my head is like, what is this one NixOS theme I was looking at?
Working bacon.
Welcome back in. It's so strange. My OBS like has a Twitch chat inside of it that lets me view Twitch chat as it comes in, but it's like delayed. It's I see it show up on the stream. You know?
Hey buddy, check your whisper.
Okay. Hello? Good morning. Acting like I know how to do that. Hold on. Yeah, I just woke up. So, I might consider doing that later. It is nothing personal that I do not want to do it right now. But I think I would like to consider this first. Yes. Is NixOS just KDE? It can be. NixOS, you can, but by default, I think they center on GNOME. GNOME. But yeah, hi Fresco Tom. Where? Let me find it. I also need to bring open a browser window. Because really it's a set of themes. I think. I just woke up. Aha. 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 Some of the screenshots are nice. I'm wondering what they're using. Yeah. Let me... So the stream has properly started. Boop. Studio mode. Let me open up a browser. I wish Firefox had a streaming mode. You know? Like, yeah, I know Firefox profiles, I know private windows, I know. But I always just end up going and opening up LibreWolf as a separate installation. I'm like, this is my clean room. Okay. Window Captura. Although I could just do a browser source, right? You can even click on them now inside of OBS. Like, I don't know. Nah, we're gonna do the LibreWolf. We're gonna do the LibreWolf. Create new source, select window, LibreWolf. Windows 10 capture, window title must match exactly. Capture audio, why not? Force SDR, don't know what that means. Not a damn clue. Also, some of my monitors are still off, and these aren't. Be nice. Okay. Jesus Christ. Oh god, it's light mode. Hold on. Dark reader. Ow. Ow. My eyes. Ow. Ow. My poor little eyes. Ow. Alright. But Dots Hyperland by End 4 here. And like, yeah, he's got a bunch of AI shit on the side. Regardless, this little API box here, this isn't the best screenshot of it. It's a little cluttered, but I think this is GNOME, just like modified, maybe. Am I wrong? All right. Yeah, because this is like and this is what was I gonna say? Hyperland exclusive or Wayland, but I think Hyperland is the Wayland that it uses. I know I'm misinterpreting that. It's in some form or fashion, but I just woke up. Man, speaking of stonks, let me tell you, every time these fucking Republicans get in office, finally I get to say this instead of the opposite, like the rest of my family. These fucking Republicans tanking the economy. Some of the screenshots are nice. I'm wondering what they're... oh, yeah, I already read that. Wayland is one of the reasons I want to move off of Mint so I can HDR my TV. Yeah, yeah. But I love this. Like this little sidebar here. Which, yeah, he's... Sorry, I'm eating right now, but... I do realize this person is trying to do trigonometry with Google Gemini, which I wouldn't recommend. At all. Mm-hmm. Arch with KDE. It'd be really nice. I'm a really big fan of the gnome look, but I enjoy the KDE sort of feel. Because, like, hey, all this shit aside, I grew up using Windows. You know, that's what I grew up using. And I can use a lot of different stuff pretty well, but... Are they a furry? What is that?
C3PO. Math isn't one of my 600 trillion languages.
Why does... It should recognize that as C3PO. Come on. What is this case-sensitive bullshit? Also, what am I looking at? Rude. Hyperland plus AGS. Oh, yeah. I remember this part of it. I'll stop eating right into the... I almost said camera. Scaffolding CLI for Astral TypeScript. Yeah, a lot of this is I think they did some of it with TypeScript or something. But yeah, this is like this one person's dot files. He didn't make this, but he made these like themes and shit. I don't know. I just find it really inspiring. Visually. I tried installing it on a Nick system once, and it was like, well, advanced gynecological syphilis. Reminds me of the Jolly Rancher story. Yummy. I'm being bougie and getting, well, that's not actually being bougie in this case, but I'm getting groceries delivered today. Because my hip.
Mindless prayers of mild and stands and loud spare.
Adam. God, I love it when he does that. Yeah, I kind of hurt my hip a little bit, or it's like, I have hip strain or something. It's like a sports medicine thing. It didn't really hurt, but it's like, I can tell I need to sit down for a while. Already laid down as much as I could. Then my body was like, stop being horizontal. Sick of it. And I'm like, yeah, I am too. So this is nice. I would like to... Delivery here is like £3. How much is a quid? How much is a quid? So why wouldn't I get delivery? Oh, word. Oh, it's like €3? Or £3? Sorry. I thought y'all switched to euro when I was a kid for some reason. Because I just assumed that the world was a bit of a fairy tale. And it's like, oh yeah, they have a new idea. The money. You did? But we still say quid. Oh. A quid is equivalent to £1 sterling. £1 sterling. So... Do y'all still use your national currency too? The quote-unquote nation. The quote-unquote United Kingdom. Is it like Bitcoin? Is the euro the Bitcoin of the 90s? How many quids? How many quids? You know? Question mark. Fucking go.
Still say quid. British money has a lengthy history. so it's not surprising that it's evolved and changed over the years. Whether you're watching British TV, reading British books, or just planning a trip to the UK, it's understandable you might have questions about how it works. Even among Brits, you'll find many don't understand the older British monetary system, shillings and farthings and whatnot.
Ireland is separate from the UK for the most part. I'm aware that there's some what did they call it? The trolling, you know, the griefing. Sorry, the troubles. Don't worry, I know it's called the troubles. Okay. Confusingly, Ireland had a. My brain doesn't know. Okay, that's a pound symbol, not a euro. They look so similar to me. The pound has a flat part. That's the pound, right? Okay. Ireland had a pound right up until we adopted the euro. Right. The griefing. Yes, the griefing, the trolling. You know, the great trolling. No, but no, it was because a lot of those situations that I'm pretty sure my ancestors, you know, since they were able to get out of the country, they did. Which, relatable, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Our pound was matched to the British pound, but we had way cooler coins and notes.
Ireland money. Irish money.
I swear to God, if they show me like 4-leaf clovers and beer, it's not cool, dude. It's not gonna. I'm not gonna find the. Suspensions of U.S. support for Ukraine a serious setback. Yeah. Yeah. Irish punt. Pound. I see, pound. Shit's wild. Yeah. I didn't vote for the fucker. Thinking about maybe, pulling everything out of the market. I'm thinking about pulling all investment out of the market because these damn Republicans, man, ruining the economy. Seriously. Nickname Quid. Yeah, well, they were drunk. Okay, let me get some pictures here. Couldn't hurt. Yeah, man, y'all's money looks so weird. I am gonna send an email regarding that. One sec. But hey, with Windows 11's beautiful rounded corners, in a way, we do have a to-do list application. I cannot cope with dollars. They all look the same. Yeah. You just get used to looking in the corner. Hello, Fresco Tom. You need fruitier money. I know. All of our money's like the same color, and that's actually pretty rare, as far as I've noticed. Okay. You're pushing it, pal. I told you I'd check that out later. All right. I'm not interested right now. Thank you. Nothing personal. Window capture, notepad. Title must match. All right. Sorry. Nothing personal. Maybe later. So, 1. Get out of the market. Number 2. No. Number 2. Get out of the market. Number 1. Which should go under. No, we should put it above. Probably. Irish punt. Irish punt picks. Get out of the market. Buy. Every time. They're always like, now's the time. Buy gold. The thing that always loses value. Yeah. That's the thing. People are like, get out of the market. Get into gold. It's like, no. Just have currency. Irish punt picks. Hold on. Get out of the market! Exclamation point. Porn. 3.
Name, Pandan, ew.
Irish punt picks. Get out of the market. 3. Grocery delivery. That legit looks like like Bulgarian translated into English. Grocery delivery. Bring that shit in, boy. This isn't how I normally write my to-do list, by the way. Usually much shorter, less funnier, and also an Emacs. That actually describes me as a person pretty well. Short and an Emacs. Gonna go wipe my arse. Do a border. Okay. I don't know what you mean. Do a border? Oh yeah, we gotta do a border. Yeah, get a stream border template. Yeah, right. I was like, what slang is that? I just meant like border, right? Okay, I ate my breakfast. Eat my breakfast. I want something that like... What if I had Sam cook up a PNG tuber character that was just the keyboard sitting there? So I could be like, hey, I gotta be AFK for a second. But I could also just like slide out of the scene. Like, which could be neat. It could be. Now I'm gonna load up something in LibreWolf real quick. Now, I don't think I'm logged in on YouTube on LibreWolf, but I think that's gonna be fine. Looking at looking at these actually really nice recommendeds that are relevant. They are, yeah. But
becoming a serious
I'm also looking into building a NAS, network attached storage. I do have one, but It's very slow because the server is actually a ThinkPad, which is a laptop. Yes. I spaced out. I'm gonna watch this for a second.
YouTuber is usually not a process that tends to happen overnight, at least not in the circles I run in. I know there's people out there who go out and spend like $5,000 or $8,000 to just get set up with, you know, pro grade everything. But most channels like mine, I think, start out with a potato camera and no particular plans, and over time we upgrade to better cameras and better sets and more forethought and less ums and ahs and so on. There are a lot of paths you can take from a total beginner to a professional, and I'm certainly not at the end of that trajectory. The machine sitting in front of me here, though, is one step on that path. But to explain why I built this and what it's all about, I'd like to tell you how I got where I am at all. And this will be a lengthy explanation. I don't know how long this video will be, because it's kind of intended for people who might be interested in doing this themselves or just interested in my channel itself. So
I'm gonna hit the thing.
Everything, rather than, you know, leaving stuff out that might be crucial or making like 4 separate videos that people will get sick of seeing on their feed. So we're just going to go all the way through it. The process of getting where I am was certainly all about baby steps at first. I started out very small, added things a little bit at a time, you know, $100 here and there, incremental improvements. And then suddenly I found myself needing a $4,000 PC, expensive lenses, a whole studio, and now apparently an entire server dedicated to this task. So what happened? My process of incremental upgrades went from baby steps to moon jumps, and it all started about 2 years ago when I bought a much better camera. But I didn't realize how much I'd bitten off. Now, mind you, that was my third much better camera, but it was also the first time that it was actually true. Let me explain. My very first YouTube video was shot on a Nexus 6P, which I clamped.
Wow, look at his. Wait, he had a Nexus 6P also? Dude, that was like my first good phone. I think I still have it. Oh, wow. Huh.
To the back of a chair. I pressed record, I did my thing, and I edited the footage with Cyberlink Power Director right there on the phone and uploaded it. I shot a couple more videos like that just to make sure I actually wanted to do this for real. And by that time, I was ready to move on from a phone. I wasn't as much of a camera buff as I am now, but I still knew that shooting on a phone was a waste of my time.
Don't read your security codes live on stream, Chew.
So I picked up a Sony Handycam.
Got that first number, though. Y'all got the first number.
Ostensibly
good luck with the 2.
1080p, which I figured was good enough, right? Well, that began a long, miserable process of learning how different video from 2 different cameras can look, even when they use the same resolution.
Chat with us now.
And even bitrate. This camera is so bad that I immediately wanted it gone as soon as I got it. Besides the abysmal video quality it turned out to have.
Dude, yeah, cameras around this era sucked.
For instance, the battery. No. Oh my God, the battery's removable?
What? Aww.
In all these years. It's been like 5 years. I never noticed there's a battery door.
Fucker.
Oh, I'm a doofus. I'm such a doofus.
We are all fools.
You couldn't remove it. In fact,
we are all fools.
I think there's room to put a second battery in it. If I had known this, I might have kept using it for a while. I can't believe that just happened. I am not a smart man. Anyway, I thought the battery was unremovable.
I love this guy.
So when it was out of power,
seriously,
I just
man,
had to plug it into charge.
He's so good.
And there's no external power input other than a 1-inch USB cable. So you had to plug it in for like an hour and a half before you could use it again. This is pathetic. Also, the SD card is the micro SD variant, which it works fine, but it doesn't really feel very grown up. And I can admit to having an ego, I didn't love how fiddly it was. It also does have an HDMI port, but it's this little dinky thing I couldn't find a cable for, so I couldn't hook it up to a preview monitor. And if you can't see what you're doing, it's really a problem if you're doing serious video, which is what I hoped to do. So very quickly, I replaced this with the cheapest camera on the market that had an HDMI output, which was the Canon Vixia HF R800. This has marginally better video quality. It takes full-size SD cards, and it has a removable battery and an external power supply, so you can run it indefinitely. Those things made it far better than the Sony. At least I thought so. Anyway, and this carried me through, I think, like a year of videos, although I still hated it the entire time. It does have HDMI, but it's the mini version, and anyone who's used those knows that they're fragile. They will bend and eventually break.
They will
usually
bend.
in the middle of a shoot, just under the weight of any cable anyone makes. Maybe there's a fantasy world where you can get a cable that's light enough to
We'll
not
call
do
this
but I've
co-working
never
and
seen
studying.
one. Also, there's virtually no controls. It's all through a touchscreen. And I won't turn this video into a 2-hour hate fest for touchscreens, but I'll leave it at this. You deserve better. So after another year or so on this guy, I had some budget for equipment for the first time, so I invested in a
Where's the little Therian symbol? I saw that on somebody's stream the other day. I'm like, that looks cool. I remember that now. I had that on stuff.
Doesn't it? There's a whole lot of things.
Or the two symbols
going on here, far more than these little dinky soccer cameras. And in fact, I suspect to date that I've actually shot more footage on this than any other camera I've owned. Although that does not mean that I don't.
Yo, this one's big.
I bought this
big ASCII
because it has a whole bunch of physical
big
controls.
fat
It's got
ASCII
proper grip, the zoom control. It's got all these up here and all these buttons on the side, and these are important for.
And yes, I know you can't see them right now.
You need immediate access to all the functions to get your job done, not a bunch of silly touchscreen shenanigans where you have to dig down through 3 levels of menus just to get to the white balance. This camera has a white balance button right here on the side, so. I thought, cool, direct access. Plus these rings here give you direct access to zoom, aperture, and focus, which all sounded fantastic. And it has support for remote control for all those things, focus, aperture, zoom, and to start.
I'm finding everything.
This looked like the cure for all
but what I
of
want.
those, and it even had full-size.
But I'm gonna put these in the running notes for today.
Back then, I was shooting all my videos entirely on my own.
There we
so
go.
I needed to see what I was doing, so the HDMI was critical, and moving the camera around was a huge pain. I had to get out from behind my table to do it. So being able to
I think Dr.
zoom
Butt
in
Doctor
and out
probably
felt like
died
it
in the
made it a lot
toilet,
easier to
sadly.
shoot.
I think
And it kind
maybe.
of did. I used that a bunch. The biggest problem with this camera, though, is that the visual quality.
Nah, just kidding. They're
again,
probably just busy, right?
Horrible.
No one
I was
dies in
never
the
able to
toilet.
get anything out of this camera
Right?
that looked natural. Like, it has bizarre color rendering that makes blue look purple, no matter how I massaged it. The video has weird sharpening that you can't really disable, which I suspect is due to the sensor being so crappy that the camera has to apply a ton of processing to try to make it look reasonable. The result is it looks blurry, over-sharpened, and very noisy all at once, no matter what I did or how much light I blasted myself with to try to get the gain down. The controls are also incredibly awkward. They looked great, but it turns out that if you press that white balance button, it doesn't actually jump right to the white balance. It just toggles auto on and off.
You are
and when
gay.
It's off, you then
Why
have to
are
use
you
this
gay?
little guy here
You
to
are
cycle
gay.
through white balance options on the screen, this little dinky thing that's really hard to read when you're shooting. It's actually worse than a
You
touch
are
screen.
gay.
I also paid
Why are you gay?
$1,200 more for this than that, and I would almost say that the videos are worse.
Yo, I'm starting
In
to
fact,
see
the reason
Therian
I shot
symbols
so
pop
many
up
hours
on
footage
like
this
stock
camera is not
photo
because it's great,
websites. That's like
but
kind of,
because I never
that's
stopped
validating.
rolling once I started, and that's a really weird way to
I mean,
operate,
like,
but
it kind
I
of sucks
didn't
that
have any
people have to
choice.
pay for
I
them,
was
but
recording
you get what I
separates
mean,
at the
right?
time, meaning my mic was
It's
plugged
like when
into a
Jabroni Mike's like
dedicated audio
Fecal the
recorder,
Hedgehog
this
shirt
Tascam
started being sold
I
on
had to do that
Walmart.com.
because although
You
this
know,
guy has
strangely
balanced
validating,
XLR inputs,
even though it is
I thought
theft.
made it far more professional than what I was using before. They're terrible. The preamps are just horrible, and the audio is unusably bad, so I had to record it on something decent. But recording separates meant that to start shooting, I had to hit go on this guy and go on the camera one at a time.
Why is this taking
and then
so long?
clap. so I could sync the video
Clamp.
and audio during editing. Well, I found out that if I ever stopped the recording, I would never remember to turn them both back
What is this
on.
pick?
I would just do one or the other.
Dude, this
and then I
pick
would
go
forget
hard?
to clap to
Hold on.
resync. And I lost several shoots to this problem. So I just had
this-
to keep
hold
rolling
on.
continuously the whole time.
Dude, this
6,
pick go
8
hard,
hours,
y'all?
Even if I was moving boxes around the room or eating, because
I think this
if I
pick go
stopped,
hard.
I knew I wouldn't remember to start again. So I ended up with
Dude,
gobs
they
of
committed
useless
crimes. It's like a
footage
police
just
lineup.
because my camera sucked. But as bad as that was, it
Also, why
didn't
did that
really
image
harm me
stick
all that
around
much
from my
because
browser?
The files this camera outputs are not very big. The maximum quality mode of this camera is only 25 megabits. That's actually the same as the $200 Canon here, and only marginally better than the Sony, which I think is like 12. It's also identical
Unicode.
to a DV camcorder from 1997. It's H.264 instead of DV.
Then
so
give me
it's
the
not quite
Unicode.
comparable,
Why
but
does it
still
not want to copy?
painfully low bit rate, especially for 60 FPS HD. There's
There,
an advantage
there,
to
there,
it, however. At 25 megabits, you can record an awful lot of footage without really thinking about it. It's only about 3 megabytes per second, or 187 megabytes per minute,
There we go.
or about 10 gigabytes per hour, meaning a 128 gig SD card could get nearly 13 hours of recording. And since the Panasonic has 2 SD card slots, I could put a 128 in both of them and roll for a whole day if I had to. Since these files were so small, my standard workflow was to pull the cards from the camera, put them into my computer, and just copy all the files off like any normal human being. So managing my video files was not hard. But of course, the Panasonic was, after all, terrible. I hated its guts, and I still do. I didn't learn until a year after I bought this thing that it's basically one of those house of worship cameras that all the manufacturers make. They're sold in kits of like 3
Ooh,
or 4
that's shady.
churches. And to put it mildly, these prioritize live
This
streaming
fucking
features
website
and low
that I
cost
just went on
over
tried to start
quality.
installing a
I really let
Firefox
myself
add
get
on.
got
Uh-oh.
on this thing, and I only keep it around because I wouldn't want to sell it and thus inflict
Get
it
out of
on
there.
someone else. Still, it's kind of this picture of Dorian Gray that sits in the corner and gets uglier every time I look at it, and reflects the ugliness of my own soul. So when I had the money and I learned a little bit more, I made my first
feel like Tim
proper
Scooper should
upgrade
have
to a camera
pictures
that I
of
knew
Dorian Gray.
wasn't a complete clown show. That was the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K, which I will someday do a video about. But for now, here's a JPEG because, you know, it's the thing I'm shooting this on, so I can't really show it to you. The Blackmagic actually fails the direct controls for everything test that made me want the Panasonic. If you didn't know better, you'd think it looks way less functional. In fact, almost everything is done through a touchscreen. It doesn't have all these buttons and knobs. But it's a much bigger and better designed screen than the Canon had. In general, this camera turned out to be so much better in every imaginable way that I just haven't really cared. Despite having a touchscreen, it is far easier to use than the Panasonic. Plus, now that my girlfriend has volunteered to operate the camera for all my shoots, I don't need remote control anymore. She takes care of everything. I could come up with complaints about the Pocket Cinema 6K if I really wanted to.
She
but
ruined
I
the
don't.
shot.
I love it. It does what I want, I can rely on it, and it only costs a little more than the Panasonic, which, let me tell you, still really stings. Most importantly, though, the quality of the video itself is so stunning that I am regularly in awe of the results. I sometimes look up during editing and I see a freeze frame that looks like a still photo from a real camera, and I'm astonished that this is how video works now. I remember in about 1999, I was reading
Dorian
a prediction
Gray,
on the
Liam.
website photo.net, I think from the owner, Philip Greenspan, that in 20 years, nobody would own still cameras anymore. We just have high-speed camcorders, and we'd pick out interesting
All right, how's
stills.
the spy
That's kind
looking?
of what's happened if you wanted to do photography that way. Like, you could. You could get a Blackmagic or another, prosumer cinema camera, set it to a high shutter angle, and just point it at things, and later you'd be able to pick out some beautiful images. It's like I'm taking a high resolution DSLR
Stocks hurt
still
my
photo
soul,
60
mostly because
times
I'm
a
really
second. It's
good
incredible.
with them.
But of course, there's a price for that performance.
They're very,
and it's
very
all
easy
about
for me to
storage.
digest.
As I've said many times before, video is the great space filler. You're hard pressed to come up with anything that can fill up a hard drive quite that fast. There's a lot of you that have probably chewed through terabytes of
Like
storage
Germa.
with your extremely legal movie and television collections on your Plex servers. But the people who produce all that video are on a whole other level. We look at an 18 terabyte hard drive and go, oh, is that all?
That's a knife.
To give you an idea, here's a folder that contains all my finished projects since I got this camera. That is to say, the actual rendered out files that I upload to YouTube.
Damn.
It's about 1 terabyte all on its own. And this
Okay,
folder
just the
contains
finished.
all of the
I'm an
raw
expert
footage
at
for all
chicken
those,
stonk.
in case I ever need to re-render or reuse footage from an earlier project.
What, Yum Brands?
That's about 1.7 terabytes. It doesn't sound like that much, but it's also only like a dozen or so projects.
What,
and
like
it's chewing
Yum
up about
Brands?
3 tibs. That's how I say terabytes for short. That's not nothing, and if I was one of those like 3 video a week YouTubers, or if I was shooting a lot more B-roll or multiple angles, this would be 4 or 5 times that size. Also, this is not the original footage. My final renders are
And
limited
then a
to
sign
bitrates that
still
fit
with
YouTube's
stolen.
pathetic
I'm sorry, Adam. You're gonna have to speak up. You're incomprehensible.
quality levels, so at most about 40 megabits per second, which is less than twice what my crappy Panasonic.
Y'all are getting like
all of
like
my
morning
archive footage,
high
on the other hand,
cortisol
has been
chew. Like
recompressed with
I still kind of haven't had my
which has
coffee all the way.
Such great efficiency that it can store my 10-bit 4K 60 FPS footage with almost no perceptible loss in quality at only around 10 megabits per second. So this all sounds pretty reasonable. 8 terabyte hard drives are under $200 now. So what exactly am I whining about? Well, unfortunately, those
I like
bit
the
rates are only
intermittent
practical
Adam
for
testing.
archival purposes. The camera I'm actually shooting with does not record at those comfortable, quaint bit rates. It goes a little bit harder. Here's a clip from the video you're watching right now. Isn't post-processing magical?
Oh, that's
This
crazy.
dialogue
Okay,
shows
hold
all
on.
the details of the encoding. I
Maybe
shoot
he's just bad
4K,
at fake
60
words.
FPS
Maybe.
with Apple's ProRes 422 HD
Oh,
codec.
wait. Okay, I
And
think I see
highlight-
what might have been the problem with my Twitch chat. I just tried to, from within OBS, right? Tried to send a message to test that out, and it said, you need to log into Twitch. Yeah, every month I have to re-verify, which is understandable. Let me get the text message code. Then we'll look at the punt in a bit. Excuse me.
Iron and wait ads and pan in a store. Nina Leo and Van, their store sold.
Yeah. It's got some weird phonetic. What did Apple call it when their their AI started calling the president a racist or whatever? They said it was phonetic overlap. He loves talking about the star. When you spread for a star. Yeah, he's talking about the star. I feel like I have relatives that sound like Adam.
Number there is the bit rate. Now, this is not a bug in my media player. It's not supposed to say kilobits. This footage is playing back at 1100
Megabytes
That
per
is
second.
a little over a gigabit per second. I don't exactly know why it's this high. Blackmagic themselves say it should only be about 940 megabits, so where the extra 200 comes from, I don't know. But I've done the math and the file sizes confirm it. This
Because
is
the shoot is 60 FPS,
tremendous
not
amount of
30.
data.
I like how
It's
he
pushed at a really
figures out really
staggering
obvious
speed as
shit
well.
in post.
To give you an idea, if you were to plug my camera into a gigabit Ethernet cable and ask it to push its video across the network, it would instantly saturate the connection. 0 to
UIP.
100. I've tried playing a
Jarbu
raw clip
Cuffits
over my RAM, and it
deniers as
can't keep up. The video
pansor.
just stutters. You can't
Pan
watch it.
sore.
To put too fine a point on this, 1100 megabits
And it's
is about
Spanish,
158
stone.
megabytes per second, or about 8 gigabytes per minute for the
18
Europeans
giggle
out there.
shits per
That means
piss.
that if you press the record button on this camera by accident,
Oops.
by the time
Let's
you
see.
realize your mistake and hit it again, you'll have recorded at least half a gig of footage. It is a mind-boggling amount of data. At this rate, you can fill a terabyte in 2
Spanish
hours.
star.
And that presents some really interesting problems because this is an objectively high-end speed bracket still for consumer storage, and also because video shoots.
All right,
often run
so
for far
we
more than 8 hours.
we've
I've been
done
here for 8
a lot
hours
of
before rolling
communism
video
on
the
this
entire
stream.
time. That comes out to 4 terabytes
So
of footage. Where the
it's a
hell do you
variety
put all
stream,
that?
right? I always said it was a variety
It
stream,
turns out
y'all.
that's kind of an unsolved
All right,
problem.
so let's take
If
a
you
look
didn't know better, you would think
at the
that
markets.
camera
All
chart would've
right,
popped up and solved
let's
it.
take
So
a
as
look
far
at
as
it
I
here.
can tell, that
So
didn't
we're
happen.
taking a look here at Best Buy. We can see it's absolutely We are going into a recession. It's really bad, y'all. It's so bad. Look at that. If you look here at this level here, if you look at the technicals, you can see that everyone's losing a lot of money really fast. And it's probably not going to stop. What do you have to say about the matter, Adam?
Why would I do this?
Do we have a Trump voice? Hold on.
Up, get up, boop.
Feeling day and sky and sky soul.
This don't worry.
Oopsie, sorry. Heck, I didn't mean for it to do all that, and I thought they'd give us more money because we're so cool. They think we're so cool.
This is kind of he's a little flat. It's a little flat. Let's take a look at Target. Okay, if you look here at the technicals here for Target, you can see that everybody is losing a lot of money really fast. Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's look at Walmart. You look over here at Walmart, we see there was a steady climb over the last year until right now where everyone started losing a lot of money really fast. Okay, let's look at the S&P 500 index ETF. And if you look here, everything was going fine until everyone started losing a lot of money really fast. And then it got picked up right here because they devalued the entire economy so quickly that people were willing to sell it at a loss.
What, baby? Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Get the...
Look, y'all had the markets down. All right, it's bad. All right. And let's look at the actual trading volume here. If we look at the studies here, quick study. Where is it? Moving average. Where is it? Volatility, portfolio.
I don't like shopping at losers. Not my fault, not my fault, you fucky wucky. Can't be helped. The market should show me more respect. Lon at the stock market working view hard to fix this. He's my girlfriend.
Oopsie. I don't like shopping at losers. Is that what he said? Yes, stunk. I don't like shopping at losers. It's okay, baby. This cat just gets sad. We don't know why. Oh, the volume's down here. Yeah, if you see here, everyone started freaking out. Actually, no, just kidding. That's when the stock market opens. But at the same time, you can see everyone started freaking out a lot. Right here. So these are the little blips. Let's look at let's see. Let's look at the tick. So this thing's got a tick. It just keeps ticking, right? But if you look here, It just ticks down, it ticks up, it never really goes anywhere because that tells you when the tick is. So that's how you know where the tick is, right? You tick it up. Tick it up. If you look here at waste management, it's not as bad. But it's still going down and people are losing a lot of money really fast. Wait, dude, look at what... Dude. No, wait, that's overnight. But dude, look at this shit. It's going down. It's bad. This is every 5 minutes. Here's over 1 hour. It's going down. Here's over 1 year. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. This is the big one. This is the big one, y'all. It's the big one. Look, it's going down. It's all going down. All right. If you look here, drawings, drawing tools. If you look here.
What's a tariff? I'll tell you what a tariff is. It's terrific. Excuse me while I walk into tariff.
So if you look here. I was hoping I could like draw on the screen, but I can't.
You gotta get out. One moment. Oh boy, everything's gonna be so expensive since the tariffs take effect today. They're taking effect today, by the way. Hey, let's look at Tesla. Oh, thank God it's down. Yeah, we stay shorting Tesla. It's bad. It's bad. All in all, the situational report is it's fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. Yo, what's up, Josh? I was just looking at these awesome tariffs effects. Pull it all out. Pull it all out. Cause a big panic. I don't care. Make him look bad. Make him look bad. Make him look bad. Not this guy. This guy's cool. This is cathode ray dude. But yeah, hi Josh. I'm just doing my thing over here. I'm gonna switch it back to just chatting. But then people might start talking to me. Wait, I like talking to y'all. Okay. Bravus Lizard.
At least not in the consumer or prosumer market because they don't really need
But
it.
yeah, I'm here.
As
I'm resting my hip.
Pro cameras went HD and pros began
make
expecting
them look
solid-state
bad,
media
you
in the
say.
2000s.
And,
Clips did appear.
that's
Examples
my
are the Panasonic
philosophy,
C2,
too.
which I covered in a video a couple years ago. Basically, an incredibly expensive SD card, and also Sony's SXS a few years later. But the cameras that these were made for were intended for television, news, that sort of thing.
They were intended for television.
Megabits
They were intended for television.
Over ATSC in the end, and that's only about 20 megabits. The cards were also fantastic.
I need to think for a second. Hold on. Look at some new OBS plugins. I don't know why I'm numbering them. I don't normally number my to-dos.
He's coming. That's my gimp mask.
Hold on. I can think this funny. I can think this is funny. Hold on.
Out to do the Ferian pledge minus materials needed, a rock, gem, or stone that you feel connected to. Seeds ID,
Minus.
wildflower seeds, fruit seeds, were just any seed you want, and water a spot in nature where you can bury things. Full moon can be at any time of
Woman. Yeah, he needs more truth and he needs more punctuation.
You've uncovered my secret, which is that I am actually Mater from the
Which
Cars
is-
movie inside of a flesh suit.
Witches.
I swear to take care of my kin and fellow Furrian alike and protect Mother Earth in my entire life. I shall cause no direct harm to animals unless it is needed for survival. Let this spot be sacred Furrian ground for all Furrians. In the name of the... Inish covering the hole and water seeds. Make sure to water them as much as possible. Mark territory if wanted, i.e. signs, art, stickers. Just make sure it causes no harm to wildlife. So I said to them, can I drive the fire truck? And they said, yeah, you can drive the fire truck. So I got behind the wheel and I... beep, 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 penetrate, beep, 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 beep.
I'm a truck. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 vroom, vroom.
Finish covering the hole and water seeds. Make sure to water them as much as possible. Just fucking drown them. Plant a bunch of weed too. LOL. Mark territory if wanted, i.e. signs, art, stickers. Just make sure it causes no harm to wildlife.
He got distracted mid-tutorial. Yeah, it happens, dude.
Another grand day as the president. Let me check my to-do list. Let's see here. Make breakfast for Elon, kiss Elon, publicly insult a minority, propose to Elon at the Statue of Liberty.
He says Alon like it's it's an Arabic name? Or like Islamic, maybe? Elon? That's probably where it comes from. Shit, my real name is Jewish. And it means I think it means dog. Killev. I think it also means trustworthy. Which I don't know.
I wear a diaper, but it's not a fetish thing. I just make pee-pee in my pants. Elon Akbar. Inshallah his will be done.
Elon Akbar.
marked territory if wanted, i.e., urine, feces, mammary glands, testicle glands, sperm, cum, memes, piss, etc., weed poop.
Weed poop.
Thesis. Lawn going to moon. Thesis.
Pieces.
I love fucking up the economy. Just making it real bad. Fuck it all up. I'm a mo now.
I'm member now. I'm a member now. Sorry, I'm
Oh, and Face Force.
Space Force. Yeah, I should be learning Mandarin right now. This fucker at the wheel. Oh, I'm so fucked. Here.
Not all the rhinothropes are candidates the rhinothropes. Any animal can be the right type. But such urges are as followed: biting the air, snarling when angry or upset, chewing on toys / things, chasing people, licking teeth, yipping, and it goes on. Sad news today, America. My pookie baby fucky baby ookie wookie bear Mr. Elon has somehow gotten a cold. This is grounds for a nationwide emergency reaction. And also, nobody make fun of Elon or else I'll send you to Puerto Rico. Other urges the rhinothropes have experienced are flicking tongue, hissing, pawing at things, attraction to light, sniffing, scent tracking, echolocation, kneeing, tiptoe walking, hopping, stealing shiny things, urges to run away, urges to be on all.
Continue. My commander in chief. Please.
Fours quadrupedal, urges that humans can't physically do, and it goes on and on. These urges can be experienced by both psychological and spiritual the rhinothropes.
The fact that this actual article on a wiki somewhere has and on in it, or and it goes on, tells me that whoever wrote this is probably pretty young. Echolocation. Yeah.
Etc. equals etc. 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 equals tongue.
Tongue.
.com and her and tweeth.
She actually... Did she nail that? She nailed that, dude. I love how we, like, we're... Not bad, yeah. I like how we slowly, like, are learning the ins and outs of these voices like they're different instruments and we're an orchestra.
Etc. equals etc. etc. slash etc. slash equals slash tongue. Gum and hurt and tweet. Hello, America. I know that I've said things in the past which may make you all think that I'm not progressive, but I am. For example, today, I'm officially coming out as a fucking furrian. Woo feels nice to say out loud. That's a huge weight off.
Oh, damn it. He's always disappointing.
Anyways, let's get to the point. There's this girl I found at my new school, and I think she is a furrian. She wears a tail, has a furrian-ish mask with her, but almost never on, and also likes to do quads. I heard her say to her bestie the word furrian.
No! I like how he says Farian. Farian. Wow, the comment on that is in reply to this person is actually very wise. They said you can't know someone's internal identity unless you ask and they tell you. Yeah. Very good, actually. Very good. 20 megabits of fuck.
Expensive. A 32 gig SXS costs something like $800 in
Craig
2009.
Seaman? I'm sorry. Craig Seaman. Craig
At
Seaman.
lunch in school, I used to smear the tomato sauce from my pizza all over my face and run around the cafeteria on all fours pretending I was a red fox. Ah, you can all probably relate. Minus and a plus and a minus and a plus and oh shit. I need to salute this village people person.
I can relate.
Paul, that my Fox News. That's my Fox News.
+2. Thank you. Thank you. I looked in, by the way, I looked into it the other day to see if I could find like an open source version of like one of those trackers that what is it? Fucking my brain. One of the trackers for like the plus and the -2 thing for like a stock, right? Like we could have a stock of the chat, of the jokes, if they're good. But I couldn't find anything like that. Not really sure.
And they also never made
Maybe
them
I'll- maybe
bigger
I'll-
than 128
maybe I
gigs,
will.
and they weren't really fast enough for modern video, but they were succeeded eventually. For instance, with Sony's XQD and AXS cards, which are certainly fast enough. But again, the slots for them
Here I go
as far as I see,
labeling.
only ever show up in pro grade.
Oh, I need to
equipment.
pee really
And the
bad.
cards are
My
far too
morning
small,
water
expensive,
drink
or
just
both.
hit.
XQD has the speed, but the size tops out at 256 gigs.
I'm gonna go pee.
While AXS goes up to 1 terabyte, but costs
Sounds exactly like something cum would
I don't
do.
know what other formats might exist. I think Panasonic has had some stuff with similar prices.
Need to
and
cook a fish.
limitations,
Do it. I'm
and
gonna
I've
go
never
pee.
seen any of it show up in the
I'll be right back.
pro market where I am. All this is just to give you an idea how much companies want to charge for the privilege of truly high quality video, but honestly, who can blame them?
There.
If you're a genuine consumer walking into Best Buy to get a camera, I don't think you can
Streamerbot.com.
buy one that comes anywhere close to the kind of disc gobbling output that I'm talking
Okay,
about.
yeah,
with
I'll
this
take a look
camera.
at that.
And even those people who are shooting like 4K 60 are probably doing it on a phone directly into a format
let me
like
move this down.
H.265. My Blackmagic
Whoa.
Pocket Cinema 6K, as the name suggests, is sold as a cinema
There we go.
camera. It is supposed to have absolute maximum image quality. Likewise,
I'll be right back.
Sony's
I need to pee.
AXS cards are sold as accessories for their Venice, another line of cinema cameras. These are products that are closer kin to Red and Ari than they are to camcorders. And short of video, I don't know what else anyone would need speeds like this for. So there's virtually no market for cheap, large, extremely high-speed portable storage. To be fair, there are SD cards, SDXC to be specific, which can hit these write speeds, but they never come in sizes above 256 gigs as far as I can tell, so unless you're only interested in rolling for a half hour before switching cards, that's no good. To be fair, pros might do that, but I don't and can't. I need longer run times than that. It turns out I was out of date on this info. 1 terabyte SDXC cards with the necessary speeds do exist, and Blackmagic certifies some for my camera. However, there don't seem to be any on the market larger than 1 terabyte, and the maximum read speed only seems to be about a couple hundred megs per second. As I'll get to, neither of those are really satisfactory for my use. And there's supposed to be an SDUC standard that would fix both of these problems, but it seems like vaporware, nothing like that exists, and my camera wouldn't support it anyway. So we now return to Dharma and Greg. And that leaves only one actual option. That would be CFast, the supposed successor to Compact Flash, which you've never seen or heard of. Neither has anybody else. You can, in fact, get a 1 TIB CFast card with an absurdly high write speed, and it'll cost you $700, almost 4 times the price of a Samsung 870 EVO with twice the capacity. I can only speculate on why these are so expensive, but my guess is that, again, there's just no market. I don't know what you would use one of these for other than filmmaking, for which it is assumed you have the money to afford it. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, the Blackmagic cameras, among others, have brought film-grade video to a ton of people who don't have movie-style budgets, like myself, and spending that much on so little storage really stings. As a result, I have never heard of someone putting a CFast or SDXC card into one of these cameras. Instead, everyone I see is adorned with one of these. This is the Samsung T5, which hit the market in 2017, and it's essentially a 840 EVO grade SATA SSD packed into a tiny aluminum can with a USB adapter built in. You can plug this into your PC over USB-C and probably play most modern...
For a lack of good transitions, I just kind of slide them slowly out of view.
500 megabytes per second sustained. This is, relatively speaking, a smoking hot piece of tech, although it is a few years old. Despite being as fast as it is, it's priced similarly to comparable desktop drives at only about $200 for a 2 terabyte model, which absolutely crushes CFast in the value space. So you won't be surprised that the T5 has become a de facto standard for videography. This, to a lot of people, is digital film, to the extent that Blackmagic themselves have certified them as approved media. The numbers just make sense. Now, obviously, there's no slot for this on
You
the
may
camera,
wonder
so
why
where the
you
hell
didn't
do you
find,
put it?
don't find
Well,
the
the
plussing,
answer, as you can
2
guess,
minus 2's
sucks.
prackering.
You go to Amazon, and
This
for about
is
$30,
this
you can get
because
an
I
aluminum
am
frame
banned.
that's custom shaped
That
for
is,
these
and all
specific
of streaming tools. Reasoning for this is, well, let's just say that I having quite a bad experiences with...
He got too nervous to say it, dude. Streamer.bot.com. 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 Yeah, let's get this exe file. Put it on my computer now.
I'm smoking in my player.
Oh my god, Sam.
Hell yeah, baby.
Hi, Sam.
This certain streamer, unnamed. It was Ninja.
Unnamed. Integrations, Twitch, YouTube, OBS Studio, VTube Studio, Elgato Wavelink, Crowd Control. If then this. Yes, I do know what that stands for. Because it's been around for a very long time, actually. Not a very long time. A long time. Kofi. If this, then that, my BFF. You use it too, huh? Oh. I guess I got the names backwards. Kofi, Donor Drive. We don't have enough people for donors for donor drives yet. I think, in my opinion, in my business decision. But yes, we've been taking a look at some stocks today because the tariffs have done what tariffs always do, and the bullet flew all the way around the world and shot the shooter in the back of the head. Figuratively. So that's been cool. Things are going to get really expensive. They're taking effect today. Let's see. View more features and integration. Sure. Set channel title, channel points, logic operators, chat commands, plugins.
Want to hear my favorite phrase? I call the futka.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Tuna sir zero, 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 tuna sir zero.
This website uses cocky. This website uses cocky. That would be a really stupid, fucking...
I'm getting turned on that dextromethorphendoxylamine succinate.
Yeah, dude, DXM. Hell yeah. Oh, these are sick, dude, yeah.
Ha ha dot 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 ha 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 da da da. Two dust there zero 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 two dust there zero.
Oh, dude, I could put Chat GPT in the chat and have everyone abuse it. Everyone call it, like, gay. Personal gender pronoun support. Okay.
Dextromethorphendoxylamine succinate.
Fuck, she cannot say that at all. Chat request to play YouTube. Urban Dictionary. Warning, use this at your own risk. Baby has best pronunciation out of all TTS. True.
Dextromethorphendoxylamine succinate.
Ooh, a fake news overlay?
Dextromethorphendoxylamine succinate. Aha, yeah. Alon be succinating my balls.
News just in. StreamerBot released live. Amazing things predicted for your channel in the future. Now back to VR Flad.
That's pretty funny. That would be kind of funny. That would be kind of funny with y'all. Y'all would do some really funny shit with this. I know you would.
Just in. StreamerBot released live. Amazing
and it's so obviously fake too. It's just cheesy enough. Oh, that's really good. Okay, I'll keep this one in mind. I'll pronouns.
Breaking news. Baby getting turned in the playroom on alphabet blocks and monster trucks and dextromethorphendoxylamine succinate.
Oh my god, you can do a subject, object, possessive pronoun, reflexive, past tense, current tense, and plural pronoun for somebody? Woo! Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Please note, there are many implementations. We've tried to be correct as possible and mean no disrespect with the below. Dude, no, that's pretty fucking good.
Woke.
Woke. Here's the thing, though. This is great, but I don't really still know what it's doing. Can you say, if you're in a streamer's Twitch chat, you give the bot your pronouns and people can ask it your pronouns? I guess, is what I'm guessing. This is cool, though. Among Us ban animation. Death counter per game. Lets you or your moderators update it. That's cool. top watch streaker. Dynamic on-screen voting. Simple timed messages.
Sometimes, when I walk past a pigeon outside and I feel a little crazy, I just scream. I jump up on a high surface and scream as high and loud as I can. Just to see my knight in shining armor Elon come running over to save me from the evil drone bird.
I don't know why I'm doing this right now. Wait, what? Bro, I just looked up Elon Musk impreg, and now I'm getting a USA Today article from yesterday saying that Elon Musk has had his 14th child.
I wet the sheets last night.
Get in line, old man.
I'm here to pick up Joe from daycare.
Yeah, Hay's kinda sticky.
Yeah, Obama.
Yay, Obama. Man, 14 kids. "14th kids and 0 fucking." Man, I need to buy euro. I need to fucking buy fucking euros. I need to convert currency. Like, today. What a nasty fuck. We all put up. You know, it reminds me of a song.
What do you mean? 0 fucking. We and Elon have done that enough for 17 lifetimes.
Reminds me of this and the things they talk about in this video. Flashing light warning.
Yo man, you've been doping up this shit.
Wait, it's really quiet. Yeah. Hold on. Wait, it's all on the left ear? No.
Yo man, you've been doping up this shit, but I ain't heard anything good yet. Yo Randy Mac, how's it going, man? I was just getting round to it, you know, just getting down to some hip hop. Yeah man, but like, you know, I've been waiting a goddamn long time on this album and shit, you know, you ain't been busting none of the old school type shit, you know. Hey, you wanna cool down a bit, I'll put a bullet right through your brain.
That part. For some reason, I haven't heard anything good yet. For some reason, when I think of Elon Musk, I think of this part.
Bullet right through your brain.
I think of that part right there where he says that.
Hey, you wanna cool down a bit, I'll put a bullet right through your brain.
I think about that. For some reason, that comes to mind. Figuratively. I am gonna play this because this shit bumps. Y'all ready for the real street life? Hold on. What did you say, sir?
So true. So relatable. So real.
I think this guy was trying not to wake somebody up. What did you say, Mr. Rapper?
This is called my way of life.
Okay. This is called My Way of Life.
My way of life is fun. Everybody's got a gun. Shooting everybody through the head with a gun. Putting a 48
slug through their mind. Everybody's quiet in every cell.
Living in hell, you think it's hell where you live? You are wrong.
He's so quiet. Sick.
This is the type of shit I'd be playing in the Oval Office while I'm signing papers.
Oh, for sure. Drug me. Vodka, beer, bullet, brain, C-Fax, acid.
Living in the streets where there's no fun. Everybody's got a gun. Everybody's shooting everybody through the mind.
By the way, this music video was made on an Amiga. I fucking love C-Fax Acid Crew, dude. That's how it ends, by the way. I didn't mute it. It just ends like that. He's gonna water the president. We can only hope. I mean, this is a heartfelt portrayal of life on the streets. Yeah, dude. We love C-Fax Acid Crew. Let me show y'all some of this shit. This is all like live MIDI stuff too. Like sometimes the clocks go out of sync and shit, man. It's great. I mean, it's not preferable, but it's raw. Yeah, he does all of his graphics and shit with Amigas and shit.
Bump that meaty, I wanna hear it rock.
Hell yeah. By the way, if you've ever heard of Square Pusher, they are brothers, actually. They're like blood brothers. So this is his brother's music. I basically kind of grew up listening to Square Pusher. First started listening to Square Pusher when I was maybe like 12 or 13. And yes, this is really tracking what's happening in the scene, and this is what a modern security system can start to analyze. Potted
Right,
plant,
I creep
person.
at night with stars / posse deep. That's how I creep shrimp.
Hearty discouragement. Why do you gotta take all the good usernames? I'm not even like mad that y'all are trying to scam me anymore. I'm mad that you're taking such good usernames. Dude. But yeah, check it out at how faithfully it can track how many people and like where their faces are and stuff. Check that out. Advertisement. Advertisement. It's 100% accurate. There's like 99% accurate on everything. Check that out. You are being watched.
Creep shrimp, creep shrimp, creep shrimp, creep shrimp, creep shrimp, creep shrimp,
creep shrimp. God, I fucking hate capitalism. But man, this looks cool. Damn, she's going fast! Damn, people walk fast in Japan. Holy! What a busy lady! How long y'all think this took to render?
Busy lady. I keep my lady busy. And by lady, I mean around. And by busy, I mean pregnant.
Impreg. Sorry to bring him up so much, but when I did look up Elon Musk impreg, beside the article questioning and judging him on his 14th child, what is it? There was another article saying that he wanted to be able to get pregnant or something, which I don't know if I believe that. I mean, like, go for it, I guess, man. But he wants to have a little baby in his womb, and he wants to feed it memes and cum. Oh, there's little pictures of Square Pusher right there. Yeah, he's big in Japan. Yeah, basically I was listening to breakcore before it was cool. Basically is what I'm trying to get across here. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Okay. Pronouns. Can we search these extensions? Is this possible? +2. -2. Vote. No. Yoke. Counter. No. No, they don't have anything like that. Germa Joke Economy plugin. Oh? About +2 Economy. +2 Economy is a website that tracks viewer interaction with Twitch streamers through a memified rating system. Users can cast votes depending on if the streamer does something funny, +2, or unfunny, -2, and +2 will track these votes and display them in the graph and show the comedian's streaming value over time. Is this real? Is this real? This isn't like shut down, is it? It's real, right? Don't fake me out on this, right? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Did I find it? Elon Musk says he longs to get pregnant. What the fuck? Hold on. I almost just put in the link to the +2. Damn it. Oh, no. No, you're not making it so I can't copy and paste from this fucking website. Oh, no. Wait. You're not taking it all away from me like this. No. Wait. You can't just take it away from me like that. No. Wait. Okay, I got it. I think it was just Firefox glitching out. Dude, this news article included a link to DeviantArt, like impreg fetish art. Oh, this is futurism.com. Reminds me of Italian futurists. Reminds me of Italian fascist futurists. Fucking Italian futurism. Shit pisses me off. These people sucked. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I don't know what this is, Chad. Chad, I don't know what this, like, weird fucking South Park shit is. But it makes me real uncomfortable. And damn, the butt plug was destroyed in just 2 days. Chat, what did I just find? That's the first VTuber? VTuber? John VTube. This sucks. Yeah. Yeah, people are like, oh, the sound innovator. No, dude. No, dude, they sucked. They sucked. They were super fascist. Here's their instruments they made. Bad. There's more I could get into here. Futurist food. No. Italian futurist food. These are videos, images. They would put yeah, it's a cock. That's a cock cake. They would put little black airplanes on like desserts to be like, this represents Italy taking over the rest of the world because they're weak. And you weren't supposed to like eat the food, you were just supposed to look at it because the food was intended for a future where you didn't eat food. You had government issued food pills that were tasteless. And you were supposed to just be better than eating. So basically, they're like a fascist art movement in early Italy. Early, like, I say early as in it was after World War One. So that's what led to them putting little fake black airplanes on their desserts and having people be like, oh yes, this food is for like conquering. It's because we're awesome. We're gonna conquer the world. And that's why they ended up making a cock cake right there. Jabroni Mike and them have a whole thing on it. Super early stream. Yep. I wasn't lying about having a hip injury. I gotta chill. But Jabroni Mike and the down the rabbit hole guy. The worst kind of food, yeah. Thank you for snoozing the ad. Frederick Knudsen. They had a video going over this and man, Mike got mad. I mean, he gets mad, but like, man, he got mad. Jabroni Mike Futurist. I've misspelled it, whatever. I'm not calling him a futurist, by the way. Futurist. He's not a futurist. The Warrens. Oh, wait, I had something I wanted to send. By the way, I'm not to be held accountable for YouTube recommendations. Even if I was logged in, I still wouldn't be held accountable, but especially not right now because I'm not logged in. And also, yeah.
That said, the concept of MPreg, the NetSpeak abbreviation for male pregnancy fantasies, and might fulfill some of Musk's reproductive urges.
Okay, I took that from that article. You gotta be careful putting the music on here.
In the opening, with new, apparently
Look at this.
absurd mixtures following the advice of.
Hold on.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's.
I'm trying really hard.
Yeah. I'm gonna let this roll for a second. Here. Because the shit's insane. I've been thinking about it. Here.
Now, though. This is not...
No.
Yeah, if y'all haven't checked out the Warrens, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The semenology episode is interesting because it's a lot of cum recipes and discussion about cum recipes.
Batching and
yeah. Oh.
It'll be great.
Just pin that shit and we're good.
Mm-hmm. This gets obnoxiously pretentious.
Here we go.
Very quickly.
It's good, though. It's good.
There's a section on page 38 of this edition that says Equator plus North Pole.
Who would want those? I know, right?
The edible food sculpture Equator plus North Pole, created by the futurist painter Enrico Prampolini, is composed of an equatorial sea of poached egg yolks seasoned like oysters with pepper, salt, and lemon. In the center emerges a cone of firmly whipped egg white, full of orange segments looking like juicy sections of the sun. The peak of the cone is strewn with pieces of black truffle cut in the form of black aeroplanes conquering the zenith. These flavorful, colorful, perfumed, and tactile food sculptures
They meant that
form
literally.
perfect simultaneous meals. Oh, the abolition of the knife and fork for eating food sculptures, which can give prelabial tactile pleasure.
Prelabial tactile pleasure.
Sorry, prelabial? What's that?
Labial being lips.
Okay. You know, I thought vagina, right?
Right. Yeah. Coochie lips.
Yeah, okay.
Well, now in the sign of land, as Son of a
bitch.
He's a coochie grabber.
Coochie grabber. The use of the art of perfumes to enhance tasting.
Thanks, Adam.
Every dish must be preceded by a perfume, which will be driven from the table with the help of electric fans.
What the?
Can you actually?
Prelabial tactile male pleasure.
The use of perfumes to enhance tasting. Whoop. Where'd it go? Come back. Come back, window. I told it to capture cursor and it screamed and died. Oh, there we go. The use of electric fans. Where is it? The use of the art of perfumes to enhance tasting. Every dish must be preceded by a perfume, which will be driven from the table with the help of electric fans.
Instead of this experience where you've got like fans pointing at your face and just smells being blown into your face, and this food arrives and it's made of egg white with orange in it.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard to picture this, and it looks insane and terrifying.
Because it sounds okay on its own when you imagine it as an actual experience, and it's like being assaulted.
Sorry, but the perfume.
Dude, I would
is separate
sneeze
from the
so
food.
much.
They're not meaning the aromas of the food when they say that. They're meaning we have a perfume that we put out that we're going to blast into your face while you're trying to eat.
A given taste of something can sum up an entire area of life, the history of an amorous passion, or an entire voyage to the Far East. A battery of scientific instruments in the kitchen. Ozonizers to give liquids and foods the perfume of ozone. Guys, ozone doesn't smell good. Ultraviolet ray lamps, since many foods, when irradiated with ultraviolet rays, acquire active properties, become more assimilable, preventing rickets in young children, etc. Not true. Not true. Not true. That's fake. In such a way as to obtain from a known product a new product with new properties. Colloidal mills to pulverize flours. What? Anyways, yeah, the futurists sucked. I don't know how we got on this topic, but yeah, early stream. Early stream. +2 economy, though. Let's try to get this set up. Oh boy, I hope this is, safe. Oh boy, I hope they're not hacking my account. I hope I'm not getting socially engineered. Guys, I hope I'm not getting socially engineered. Oh fuck, I just got socially engineered. Welcome to +2 economy. A fun way to track the comedic value of Twitch streamers. Each chatter has a 1-minute cooldown between votes. After some time, it will be displayed as a stock market graph. Okay. Alright, alright. Hold on. So, leaderboard, settings, enable bot. Okay. Channel is currently offline. No, it's not. No, it's not. I think it might take a second for it to like realize that I'm actually streaming, or maybe I have to restart the stream. That or this website is like incredibly new. Yeah. Yeah. Says channel is currently offline. How new is this website? It feels really new. Because it's only showing, guys, it's only showing 2 streamers on the leaderboard. Presumably they have a bot that joins the channel. Okay. Like, it doesn't look shady though. It looks legit. Follow channels list on a sidebar if you're logged in via Twitch. Here, hold on. Also, hi, Dr. Butt Doctor. Let me log in. Prelabial tactile pleasure. Fish in the oven, chippies in the air fryer. Nice. Votes will not be counted while the bot sees the stream is offline. It takes about a minute to update offline online status. Okay. Says it takes a bit. Guys, I got so stoned. I keep picking up my tablet pen to draw and then going not like this when I remember my tablet itself is not plugged in. Damn. But here's the 2 Jones index, which is the aggregate of all tracked streamers, which it doesn't really show anything. Status updates may be delayed slightly. The bot avoids being rate limited by Twitch. Hehehe, rat. Bot is currently enabled. Channel is currently offline. Well, that's not true. +2. Nice too. Should I like flicker goon the stream real quick? Should I like flick it on and off? Maybe. Bean that stream. Let's bean it real quick.